Hey all, no null here. So over the course of the Revelations arc, I and many others had been coming up with theories about the unanswered questions left over from the Genesis arc, and about the new questions posed by the brand new arc. I thought it would be interesting to go over the first theory I had come up with about the Revelations arc. I also feel that this is a great way to celebrate me reaching 1000 subs, as we'll be going through the first video I ever created for this channel. I just want to quickly thank you all so much for helping me reach this milestone in just around 2 months from when this channel was made. That's crazy to me, and even more crazy is that I've gotten more than one video to over 10,000 views, and I have over 200,000 views overall. Thank you all so much, and now onto the video. So in my very first video on this channel, uploaded after the release of Mario's bus trip, we still didn't know about the arc's name yet, and it actually wouldn't be confirmed for a while that there was an arc going on, but it was obvious by this point that there was. The name me and many others originally agreed upon was the college arc, as at that point the arc was entirely just slice of life college episodes, with only hints of connections to the Genesis arc. Originally, I believed that to become a god, studying for exams and absolute power would all be in the arc, as they all had strong connections to the arc. To become a god introduced Melanie's deity powers and her motivations. The exam episode properly introduced the goal of going to college, and why Melanie was going, and absolute power took place at Omnia Academy, and featured Niles in a minor role. While I can definitely see why they excluded the latter two, I still believe they should have added to become a god, as what it introduced just seemed too important to exclude, as it quite literally introduced Melanie's character motivations and her new powers that were central to the plot of Revelations. But nonetheless, that episode was released far before Mario goes to college, so I can see why they excluded it, although I do think they should not have. Moving on, I correctly predicted that the arc would end with graduation, although I had believed Meggy would also graduate, which was wrong. I also correctly predicted that SMG0 would return and lead to a rematch between him and Melanie. Like many other theorists, I predicted that SMG0 would return as Niles, and obviously we were technically wrong about Niles being SMG0, although I don't think any of us theorists predicted Niles and SMG0 were kind of separate people. However, despite this, we were practically correct that Niles was indeed SMG0. So at the time I wasn't sure if Niles remembered being SMG0 or not, because he was helping to train Melanie, but I thought that if he was helping her knowing who he was, then perhaps he was doing it in order to have a rematch with her in her most powerful form, after she had previously slayed him, after developing some sort of fascination with her. I like this idea I came up with, although we now know he was training her for a takeover of her body, but at the time I didn't think this would happen, as I hadn't yet come across the Niles' fake theory and I didn't think he would use the same strategy that he used with Axel again. Also, I thought of a theory that he was a reincarnation of both SMG0 and Axel, which I thought may have explained why he was drawn to Melanie, and why he sometimes acted as a prick, and why he also helped her. In regards with the box club, I theorized that the god box may have been SMG0's guardian pod due to it being somewhat similar to a box, and that to some extent they worshipped SMG0. Although I was wrong about this, the god box does have connections to SMG0, and I was right about that logo sort of, as it is literally a zero. I came up with the interesting idea that the leader may have witnessed the world-ending events of the final piece based off dialogue from the song, believing it to be Judgment Day and the portal to the new universe was their new paradise, which he believed they were going to be taken to due to all of the memes being transmuted and taken to it. Moreover, I also correctly predicted that SMG 1 and 2 were brought back for an important reason, and that meme energy would play an important role due to its re-explanation. Lastly, I speculated correctly that Niles and Melanie would grow closer, and that Mario would help the box club find the god box, although obviously I was wrong, that they'd be trying to find SMG0's USB, which I thought they'd find by going to where 1 and 2 hid the pods. I then correctly speculated that Niall's story would intertwine with the box club, with Niall's using the box club to regain his true form, which was correct, although I had thought this would be by using his guardian pod, which I thought may still have contained his true form from after taking over Axel, although we now know that this likely was not the case. Interestingly, while I successfully predicted that the leader would die, I didn't predict how he would die, as I thought he may eventually turn on Zero and get killed by opposing him, or that he may die by getting in Zero's way and would die completely loyal to him. I also correctly predicted that Niall/SMG0 would die, although I thought that if Niles didn't know he was SMG0, then maybe Melanie Cold saved him by erasing Zero's thoughts and memories out of Niles. Wow. That was all just discussing my first video. Overall, I'd say I was mostly off the mark, as at that time we knew relatively little, although I did get some things to some extent correct. Oh, and one last thing.
Let's appreciate the old voice I used to use in my videos. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already.